As session moves forward, a lot of work is happening in your committees. Can you give us an update on what is happening in those committees?
We already passed a budget. It was the 2015 supplemental budget to fund government for the rest of this fiscal year. It funded several things. One was some disaster recovery efforts in Oso, where the landslide happened last year, and the wildfires that happened on the east side of the Cascades. It also satisfied a court decision, which the state was going to have to pay eventually, but until we paid it, the state was being charged $20,000 in interest every day. So we paid it earlier rather than later in order to save the taxpayer some money. And then it also devoted some funding to mental health, which also brings me to one of my other committees, the Judiciary Committee, where we've done a lot of mental health work as well. And it's not the most glamorous issue, but there's been a lot of failings in our state's mental health system. And between the operating budget that we passed and some of the bills that we're studying in Judiciary Committee, hopefully we can reform that for the better. I'm also on the Finance Committee, where we are hearing all 15 bills from the governor's tax and revenue proposal, and that's going to be interesting to see what he has to say.
With revenue up by about $3 billion, the governor has proposed $1.5 billion in new taxes. Is this the right direction for Washington State?
I'm not sure it is the right direction. We are still slowly trying to recover from the Great Recession. There are a lot of people back home in my district who are still unemployed, or maybe they have a job, but it's not the job that they want, so they're underemployed. And I don't think raising taxes is the answer right now. If you don't have a job, I don't think you're going to be able to afford a tax increase. And if you're looking for a job, I don't think it will be any easier for a business to hire you if they have to deal with increased taxes. So I'm on the Finance Committee, though, and all of the tax proposals will come through that committee, and I'm looking forward to hearing what the governor has to say about why he thinks these tax increases are necessary.
You introduced your first bills recently. Can you tell us a little bit more about those proposals?
Yeah, I actually have 4 bills that have all gotten bill hearings. The first is a bill that would remove some duplicate regulations concerning the CPA industry. We're approaching tax season, so those are always good guys to have on your side. Under current law, they were for some accountants had to be regulated under 2 different sets of statutes, so my bill made it so they would only be regulated under 1 statute, so it was just a little bit easier for them to do business. Another bill involves giving tribal police access to a database that state, federal, and local police already have access to. I think it was an oversight when the law was passed a few years ago, but the Muckleshoot tribe asked me to address the issue, and we have a bill going that'll fix that. I also have a bill that would preserve funding for flood control districts. Flooding is a big issue, especially in Auburn and Sumner. And the King and Pierce County flood control districts raise a small amount of money from property taxes each year, but sometimes that money is threatened by other government programs. So my bill would make sure that the money currently going to flood control districts remains going to flood control districts to help with these levee projects. It doesn't raise property taxes at all. It just protects the property tax money that you already pay for the intended purpose, which is flood control. The last bill I have is a bill that addresses the rising property taxes that senior citizens and others on fixed incomes face. Currently, if you make under $35,000 a year, you're exempt from some or all of your property taxes. And my bill would take that limit and index it to inflation so it slowly increases each year. That way, if you're on Social Security or veterans benefits and your income is indexed to inflation, you are able to continue qualifying for this program for as long as you live. It would also gradually phase out the benefit in a way that isn't done right now. Right now, if you make $1 too much, you lose the benefit entirely. My bill would gradually phase that out, so if you make $1 too much, then you would only pay that $1 back in property taxes instead of hundreds of dollars more. Seniors face rising property taxes as their assessed value rises, and this bill will give them a little bit of relief that they need. I'm looking forward to all of these bills moving through the process. One is already on the House floor, and hopefully that comes up for vote soon. Some others are currently under consideration by the committee, so I hope those move along.